Instagram is out to replace TikTok, while Reddit has forgotten the reason it exists in the first place. OpenAI dropped a huge value bomb, while Google is decided to just force people to pay for AI because it's just so dang valuable. This is the Act 18 show. Hey everyone, Jason here, faith-based entrepreneur and digital nomad. Timestamps and sources below, along with a link to today's sponsor, our Act Rev 1 Canvas. It's a simple one-page business plan to help you get up and running, whether you're looking to build a new product strategy or you're just trying to figure out this whole funnel and traffic and conversion thing. We have a ton of training inside there as well to help you come up with a solid traffic, conversion, and of course profit plan for 2025 and beyond. So check that out via the link in the description. Super excited to finally have that launched. Now, first up, we have Instagram with a couple of updates, essentially copying TikTok. Meta seems to be really good at doing this now. So three rapid fire things here. So first, Instagram essentially launched an app that is a clone of CapCut. So if you're not familiar with CapCut, it's a nice little app that allows you to edit short form content really quickly because it has a lot of templates. So you don't have to think too much about music or timing. You kind of just drop your clips in and it works really well, unless it's banned by the US. So then Instagram, seemingly out of the blue, just happened to be at the same time that TikTok was banned, launched this new app here. So essentially it just seems to be a blanket clone of CapCut. Of course, by the time you're watching this, CapCut and TikTok should still be live, although it's a bit of a still up in the air as to whether or not the TikTok will stay around or the fate of TikTok. But it is interesting to see that we do have another free editing app. And this is also something interesting where you look at these apps like CapCut and of course Instagram's now, and really the only downside is, of course, they're going to watermark things at the end of the video because they want you to edit and post to that platform. So just keep that in mind, that most of the time when you see CapCut edited videos on places that aren't TikTok, it's because someone has used CapCut, they've exported the video, and then they've cut off the end where CapCut puts their little watermark. And although Instagram didn't say they were doing that, I'm pretty sure they are going to have that really annoying chime at the end of the edits. Now, this next one is a little contradictory. This is from Social Media Today. And I say contradictory because Instagram is now giving us videos up to 3 minutes, which is nice because now when you're creating short form content, you have YouTube gives you 3 minutes, LinkedIn gives you 3 minutes, X doesn't care how long you do, and now we have Reels doing 3 minutes. So you can essentially have one short form video that works on all of the platforms. However, there is a little asterisk here because according to one of the previous recommendations by the CEO himself, things longer than 90 seconds don't perform well. And so this is this odd place where these content platforms know what works well. Short form content should be short form, so 90 seconds or less. And in some cases, it used to be 60 seconds or less. And I can tell you from our own limited data that tends to track. Like someone doesn't want to, when they're in that mode of rapidly flipping through content, they're much less likely to watch a long, like this video, for example, that's around 12 or 15 minutes. That would be way too long for all these platforms, right? It's just users of these platforms are in the mindset of quick swiping, not necessarily, oh yeah, I'm going to sit here and watch a video for 5 minutes. And so I just think it's funny that earlier in the year, Instagram came out and said, hey, we allow 90 seconds, but it kind of hurts your performance. And now they're saying, hey, you can go up to 3 minutes because we just want to compete with everybody else. And we want to get content creators to stay on our platform. And we will allow them to do things even though we know it's not really in their best growth interest because our users don't want 3-minute videos. But at the end of the day, Instagram is just like any other business on the planet. They're trying to compete for creators' essentially attention and content. So there you go. Now, this one is a little interesting. I think this is going to be really helpful, especially for the majority of us where Instagram is not our primary platform. And that's this new grids update. And so long story short, your grid, you can now actually edit the layout of it. and they're switching the aspect ratio so it's more like 16:9 as opposed to, the old way, which was I think 4:5 or 5:4. I always get those confused. Anyway, the point is Instagram is shifting much more towards Reels style content. And so that's why we're going to get a bit of a different aspect ratio on this grid. And I do think it's cool that you'll finally be able to decide what shows up at the top. And I think that's important because for most content creators and business owners I talk to, Instagram is like number 2, 3, or 4 on the list of platforms to focus on. And so it's really nice to put a bunch of time and energy into, say, a carousel, which the CEO said works really well. So put a lot of time and energy into a carousel, then slap it at the top of your profile, and don't do anything for a month because you're busy on other platforms. So that's probably something I'm going to do. But we'll note though that in these screenshots you see there's no more highlights. So they're going to take away highlights, and they are just going to you're just going to be able to put any content you wanted people to see when you came to their profile as a carousel, and then just make it a post and put it at the top. So all in all, I think it's a nice little change. And they even said here that you're going to be able to post directly to your grid, which is also cool if you want to do a promotional post and you don't want that to interfere with the organic reach of your content, because let's face it, the Instagram algorithm is so finicky. So you can put your promotional posts on your grid, don't worry about it messing up the feed, and then when you actually have organic content that Instagram actually wants, aka no links, not being promoting, then you can go ahead and post that to the regular feed and still have your promotion stuff on your profile when people visit it. So all in all, pretty cool. And then a quick mention here at the end, Threads now has analytics and allows you to schedule. Woohoo! Now, next up we have YouTube. This is really rapid fire, and YouTube is changing their pricing because they want people to go to this thing called Google One. Honestly, I don't use it because as a business owner, I just pay for Google Workspace, which we'll get to later, which is also going up in price. But if you pay for YouTube Premium and you're paying for any sort of subscription for Google Drive or Docs or Gmail, then you definitely want to take a look at this. It's quite cumbersome how to actually get the lower price. But something that is nice here is they are going to be bringing us 4x speed on the mobile app if you are a premium user, because apparently only premium users want to 2 and 4x speed their videos. I'm pretty excited about that because I'm crossing my fingers that works on the TV app as well, and then I can finally watch podcasts on the TV with my headphones and enjoy going to 3 or 4x speed, because let's face it, not everyone talks as fast as we'd like, so that's pretty cool. Now, I hesitate to do a post on this because it's changing so fast, but let's give it a try. Hopefully it's not outdated by the time you're watching this. So long story short, TikTok is banned. Congress people are threatening companies like Oracle, Apple, and Google with hundreds of millions of dollars in fines for allowing TikTok to continue, even though there's a presidential order giving TikTok some time to actually work out a deal. So it's quite confusing. Hopefully we don't see too much infighting on politics and they can just figure this out so we can continue having TikTok, and then we can go back to the courts and get this ridiculous law overturned. So here's where we are so far. Every other billionaire and their grandmother wants to buy this thing, right? So we have the likes of Larry Ellison from Oracle. Of course, we also have Musk trying to throw his hat in the ring. And now apparently Mr. Beast and some investors want to buy it as well. But long story short, the president has said that what he wants is to find someone in the private sector to purchase TikTok, and then the US would get 50% of that deal. I have no idea how that actually works, but the whole concept of the government investing directly or getting a vested interest in something, whether it's a commission or some sort of equity or stock, has not been really disclosed at all. So we're not quite sure how that would work, but that's pretty cool because that would mean the government could actually go make its own money and stop taxing us. I think that's a pretty cool concept. So it'll be interesting to see what really happens here. And because there's so many, Kevin O'Leary also apparently has a group of investors who want to buy it as well. So it'll be interesting to see. And luckily, there are two lawmakers who are trying to repeal this as well. So irrespective of whatever people's thoughts are on security or privacy or whatnot, I think those are all great conversations. And at the same time, it's incredibly troubling to have a government that just says, hey, you're not allowed to visit this website at all. I know there are a lot of other things, but the very basics of we should be allowed to do stupid things. The government's not a nanny. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, OpenAI has dropped a huge bombshell, and this is way cooler than the update we got last week of you could schedule a prompt, because now it can actually take over a web browser. And they're working on it actually taking over your computer as well. But they were very quick to let us know, remind us that this is not going to replace your job. You get to keep your job. We're just making you better at your job. There's going to be more productivity, not CEOs just replacing all of us with AI bots. But anyway, what's really cool about this is they have created their own virtual web browser, and you can essentially say, hey, look up tickets for this or research XYZ, and it will go use its browser. There's a way to turn it off so you can log into stuff so you're not giving all your banking information away to GPT, so don't worry about that. But then when it is on, it controls the virtual machine, taking hundreds of screenshots, and then it feeds it back to essentially the prompt window where you can either pause it's working or you can tell it to keep going. So I've kind of pulled up a demo here. I'm going to go ahead and mute it just so you can see how it works. And it is really, really fascinating to see how they have essentially created a virtual machine with a web browser. And as you can see here, the AI on its own is going to book the dinner reservation, and it's taking a screenshot. It's figuring out where on the page it should click next. And then it clicks on it, and then it kind of goes back and forth. And in this demo, it also shows that it figures out that the time the developer requested, 7 something, wasn't available, and then said, hey, do you want to book your dinner for 7:45? And then, of course, it went ahead and was able to book it. So right now, it has a kind of direct, let's call it integration with certain services that they've worked with, but this hypothetically could work with any website. So the good news is this is an awesome tool. It is going to save us some time. But there are two, I think, issues we're going to see with this. Number one, it's only on a $200 a month price plan, and I'm not sure it's worth upgrading for that quite yet. And the websites can see that it's OpenAI doing this, right? Like OpenAI is making sure that they aren't pretending to be an actual human. And so I do think very quickly we're going to see a lot of websites arbitrarily just say, nope, you're not allowed to do that. Or maybe competitors like X. So if you have any ideas of, hey, maybe you could use this to do some quick competitor research over on X or Insta or Facebook for that matter, it's probably not going to be able to watch YouTube videos. But if you have any sort of like, hey, what is this influencer's best posts over the last 3 years? That's definitely something I'm going to use as soon as I get access to it, because you better believe that there are going to be a lot of sites that will just say, nope, you're not allowed to use an AI to instantly crawl our website. And this is drawing a pretty fine line between website crawling to begin with. So all in all, I think this is really cool because essentially now you could schedule GPT to say, hey, I'll go ahead and pause it. They stopped here's another demo. Anyway, you could go ahead and tell GPT, hey, go ahead and write me a super awesome post motivating my audience every Saturday morning and post it to LinkedIn and X. And it could actually just go and do that. Now, of course, is the content going to be great? And should you proofread it? Of course you should proofread it, and probably not after a while. But it is something that is super cool. And just as a quick personal note, I had my first chat hit a memory block this week. That was, I had this chat where I was using for all of the broadcast emails I send out, and its memory got full. So go figure. There is an actual limit. It just took 6 months. Now, on the subject of AI, we have Google Workspace deciding that we really need AI in our lives. So if you have a Workspace plan, which of course I recommend because it's great. I mean, Google Docs, the Google Suite is pretty good, even if you don't like some of the other things the company does. But what's not cool is they're now just going to force everyone to pay for AI. So originally it was a upgrade. Of course, they tried to get a lot of people to upgrade. And my guess is most people took one look at it and went, I've got Gronk and I've got GPT, and Gemini is super, let's say, strict on what it will and will not do compared to Gronk and even GPT. So most people probably just stuck with what they were already paying for. So now Google has come out and they are going to increase, I'm trying to find the pricing here. So they're going to increase the pricing to essentially $14 a month per user on the business plan and force everyone to use it. And I got to tell you, it is super annoying and not helpful. Every time I copy and paste something, ironically from GPT into a Google Doc, Gemini pops up and it wants to say, hey, do you want me to summarize this? No, I don't want you to summarize it. And Google clearly does not know what people want to use Gemini for, because if they did, people would have upgraded instead of just forcing everyone to pay for it. And number two, they would come up with something more clever than asking if I want to summarize a folder. What? It's just, it's one of those things like everyone has a super powerful tool and we're all still trying to figure out how to use it. So if you are on a tight budget and you are trying to find a AI that's going to do a lot of powerful things, then an extra $2 a month on a Google Workspace plan, you're going to need a professional email anyway, is pretty much a no-brainer. But I still personally am liking what GPT puts out, although I do have a content writer who just pretty much uses Claude all the time. So, to each his own. Now, our final story, this one's pretty ridiculous. I put it at the end, but I guess Reddit has forgotten the point of forums. Now, I thought, go fig, just me, that the point of a forum was to share things and discuss things that you have shared, whether it's a personal experience or maybe it's something you found on another social media platform. Well, apparently a bunch of people somehow mistook Elon grabbing his heart and then throwing it out to the crowd as a hail sign, and now a bunch of subreddits have decided you can't share links to X because the owner made a sign that looked like something that happened over 100 years ago. And I mean, obviously it's not. I think it's very silly that this is even a thing, but hey, I think this was a chance for Reddit to come out and say, hey guys, I don't think it's a good idea for our platform that is specifically designed to share things from other platforms to ban the sharing of things from other platforms. And I think what's most ridiculous is like looking through some of these Reddits have nothing to do with the politics of Elon or Trump or whatever else is going on. And so I think this is just another example of some people being really upset at one side of the political aisle, looking for anything and everything to say like, oh, look, he must be doing that. Obviously not, but hey, it's, I guess the days of maybe just leave politics at home and let's all get back to work is still not a thing. But I'm crossing my fingers that we can get back to that point and we can just be civil again. But wrap up with X is apparently now launching a dedicated video tab, once again proving they really are committed to trying to be an everything app. I have been posting short forms of these podcasts over there, and I haven't been doing well, so maybe I just don't understand how to post videos on X yet. But it is interesting to see that they really do seem pretty committed and pushing forward with the posting of videos, and I think it is a good move because unlike Meta, YouTube is still quite strict. YouTube has not come out and said, hey, maybe we were oversensitive with certain topics and you can say what you'd like to say now. So I think X still has an opportunity there, but I think as soon as YouTube stops playing with certain political or social issues and lets people just speak their minds, as crazy or mean as we may think they are, then I think X is going to have a huge uphill battle here, especially as the media keeps doing things like this to Elon, trying to brand X as like this some alt-right echo chamber or something like that. So I think that's a stigma that X really has an uphill battle on, which of course YouTube has a stigma with people on the right as well, and some people in the center for censoring certain content. But all in all, we all have to remember that the majority of people just don't care. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you got some value out of this one and you enjoyed the new format. I'm just playing with things, trying to essentially speed up the process of creating these because I'd like to do more of them. And I'd like to focus more of my time on just sharing and talking about the story with you as opposed to trying to summarize it and get it in the best possible format possible. And so just going and sharing the original articles instead of having myself and team write our own. So anyway, I guess that's more for me. I know there's like 3 people watching at this point from analytics. So thank you so much for watching again. And until the next, keep building the business you love.